Hi, Peter. I wanted to give you a quick overview of kind of like the Enscape experience in the Revit BIM environment. And I discussed this issue of a comparison between Lumion and I said Twinmotion at the time, but I really meant Enscape. So I wanted to show you how this functions, and I really hate to draw comparisons directly, especially if you've already purchased software. I'm going to tell you what I like about this experience, why I think it's great for customer or client relationships, and for workflow with inside of the BIM modeling environment. So right now you're looking behind me at the a little project I did for Alfred State for the civil engineering department, I think it is. They have a lab and they wanted to remodel it or revision it so they could do some funding. And I thought this would be a really great place to use Revit and the photorealistic rendering environment of Enscape, and it had a few advantages too that I'd like to point out to you. But right now, let me just jump back to Revit and show you how these two are kind of interactive with each other. So on the screen, I'm just going to select uh, Revit now. So I'm in the Revit environment. That other screen that I had up was directly connected to Revit. They're operating both synchronously with each other. You can see how it says pause live updates. This is where I would have started Enscape. It's a tab, it's a drop-down tab within the browser. So you can see kind of the layout of what this project looks like. So this is just the area that is the labs, and I've just created enough context for what I'm going to draw the renderings in. Some of this stuff over on the side is just equipment that I pulled out when I replaced it with new equipment. So one of the first things that's confusing about BIM modeling environments are this idea of having things in one document that aren't in the other one. And this is one of the things that Enscape does very well. These assets, which are people, which actually, if you remember looking back at the Enscape one, looked very photorealistic. In Revit, they're just in wireframe. So they're exact with their positioning, but they don't have a whole lot of content. And that really helps to keep down the amount of rendering time that would happen if you were doing things directly in rendering directly in Revit for certain activities that you would have. And that same goes for trees and the rocks and all of that. But the nice thing is that you can place all of these objects inside of Revit. So you can use your accurate positioning, so to speak, that's a valuable feature of any CAD BIM software. So I can accurately place these. I know where they are, and then when they're rendered inside of Enscape, they look really high quality. And if I was to actually need this to make a drawing of it, let's say I was going to make this into an actual floor plan, and I didn't want a lot of these objects to appear. One of the nice things is they're also defined as an asset of Enscape. So if I right click on any of these and I go hide in view by category, all of those people, all of those trees, all of the assets that are within Enscape will disappear. So now I have something that I can start to then detail as a construction document or some other kind of communication document that I might want to have. And obviously I can hide these generic model feature elements that I've added inside of Revit. So I have full control, but at the same time, if I just step back, I can make all those features available to me while I'm working on my document. Now, the nice thing about that is because these two documents are intimately connected, if I place trees, if I place objects, even landscape elements that I really want to see end up in the final project, I only have one document. I haven't had somebody show somebody a rendering that looks different from the one that's in the BIM document. And I think that's really important. So let's just take a look at some of the other features that happen with inside of Enscape that kind of differ from what Lumion does. Lumion is a very high quality renderer, photorealistic. It does an excellent job at that, but its model is based on the idea of a static view of an image. And that's changing. Obviously, all the software wants to be upgraded, and everyone's competing with everyone else. But from the ground up, Enscape is more based on the idea that things are going to be in motion. And so when we go back and look at what Enscape is as a live rendering model, we're always able to walk through our model and experience it. And it's always in a high quality. Let me just pop over to this other lab here a minute. And my controls are a little strange. It's almost, oops. All right, so now you can see we're in the other lab area. Let me just try and spin around here so you can see some of the features. You can see the high quality resolution of these assets that are in here, the photorealism of the surfaces. If I zoom in onto the even the cabinetry here, whoops, I went outside. Let me back up here a little bit. It'll take it a minute for the lighting to readjust itself. You can see how well detailed things are. Oops, and I'm on the wrong sheet again. I'm using two screens and it's just causing me a little bit of consternation. So anyway, that's a nice feature. I can then animate this and make a movie out of it, so I can do a full animated walkthrough. Um, I can then also do something is I can share this document with the client. And I can do that by actually, if I go out to, I think this is showing up as, this is now a web document. It renders just a little bit different, but what's really important to notice is all I did is I outputted the Enscape file, um, and put it up on the cloud, so to speak. So now this document is on a web page. If I sent this link to anyone, if I sent this link to you, you could actually go through as a client or an investor or whatever it might be, or some participant in the project, actually view the 3D model on your own. And an accurate version of what the actual CAD example is also. And this is standalone, which means that they don't need any software. All they need to do is have a web browser available to them. So anyway, that's just a few minute overview of what Enscape is. I found it to be really a very nice product to work and stay within what I call the BIM workflow. So I hope it's interesting to you.